Hey BC, I'm back for a long overdue vinyl update. These are all my finds from the last couple of months. I did a lot of touring around Canada this summer, from BC, British Columbia, all the way to Toronto and Montreal for the second time in my life going there. So I did a lot of fun things. I saw Kiss in concert on the End of the Road tour, so I'll just start off with some of the merchandise that I got there. So here's the beautiful tour book. Really nice pictures and all the great, amazing stuff. There's the back. And then a really nice shirt. I've basically gotten every shirt, tour shirt from the concerts that I've been to of Kiss. I've seen them about 7 times. I'm going to back up, bring this into frame here. And then, of course, you've got all the tour dates. There's so many on there. It was an amazing show. I had really good seats. I got a good deal on them. So we're just going to continue on with the Kiss kind of vibe here for a couple minutes. And then we'll get on to some Elvis and a bunch of crazy finds from the summer. I've got another huge pile still from the summer here. So these are just kind of the highlights. This isn't everything. I don't think I'll show everything. But yeah, this is something that I really never find here in Calgary. I found these in... not even in Toronto, in Barrie, Ontario, at a store called BJ's. So these are Japanese mini LPs from 1997, and this is Kiss Alive 2. It's in beautiful condition. I got a really nice deal on these. Really, like, I have to say, they're probably mint unplayed. So that was in 1997. They did a big remaster of all of Kiss's albums. Another one from the series. This is the debut album, one of my favorite albums of all time. I have not listened to these yet, but I am positive that they're going to sound absolutely fantastic. And even another one of my favorite albums, Rock and Roll Over. So these are really nice in the mini LP sleeves with the OBI strips. And, yeah, so I've also got some Elvis stuff. This is that's from the same store. This is a beautiful Japanese pressing of the 1978 version of Elvis doing My Way. This is a 45 that a Canadian pressing or an American pressing is like, you probably see it every time you go record shopping, but a Japanese pressing is really neat. Sounds very good. I have spun that. And this might be a little bit of a longer video, but I'm hoping that you'll stick around because there's some really rare 50s stuff and some cool imports. These two sleeves aren't in very nice condition, but the records themselves are nice. We've got 2 nice picture sleeves made in Germany from Elvis. So those are nice additions to the collection and for pretty cheap overall. So moving on, I'm going to show you guys something I got in Montreal. It was an amazing trip. I've never been to the record stores in Montreal. When I went on a school trip because I've been in French immersion for I was in French immersion for all of my schooling. So I went to this really amazing record store. I don't know, it's pretty competitive for the best one I've ever been to, but it's called Au 33 Tour, and that means 33 and a third in English. So this store was amazing. So many Japanese pressings, and this is a nice turntable mat that looks really nice on the turntable. So let's get started with some of the finds. I think I'll start with the non-Elvis finds first, and if you are an Elvis fan and want to stick around to the end, then go ahead because there are tons of amazing ones in there. So let's just get started. Let's start this video off with an album that I was just spinning. This is Tony Orlando. You might know him for the songs Knock 3 Times and all that other great 70s kind of disco-ish kind of stuff. But this is his album from 1961 on Epic, and I really enjoyed this. I'm going to finish spinning this one after the video. Moving right along, we've got an album from Fats Domino. This is a 1970s Canadian pressing, but it's a nice compilation with all the songs you want to hear. Blue Monday, Blueberry Hill, all those songs that you love. So that's going to go good in the 50s section. Another one for the 50s, we've got a nice Gene Vincent picture disc. I found this one in Montreal as well for pretty cheap. Can't remember the name of the store. But it was lots of fun, and I didn't find much at that one store, but other than that, it was okay. And I didn't need this either. This was from a very small store in Montreal. This is the Who, and it's just a greatest hits compilation, but it's a nice German pressing, so early Who stuff is always fun to listen to. I hope everyone's doing well. I've been watching a lot of your videos throughout the summer and really enjoying them. I hope everybody had a great summer. And this is a nice soundtrack. I found this at another place in Ontario, in Acton, Ontario, at a place called Vinyl Land. Check that one out if you're in the area. It was really fun. This is Wild Weekend, Dave Clark 5. Soundtrack on the Capital 6000, which is one of my favorite things to collect. And if you ever see the Capital 6000 logo on the cover, it's very rare, usually. Usually, not always. An album that I've probably searched for 5 years. As if you guys have watched the channel over the years, you know I'm a Frank Sinatra collector. And this is his album, Watertown. I have not spun this yet. It's a nice textured sleeve. I got this in BC, where I was vacationing for 2 weeks by the ocean. And that was exciting, because I was like, I've never seen that one. So I bought it. I went for it. Now we're going to switch a little bit of genres here. I got this at one of my favorite stores in Ontario, in Aurora, Ontario, which is 33 1/3. And I definitely recommend, if you're in that area, to check that out. A lot of these finds came from there. Really nice guy who works there. I think his name is Rob. And yeah, this was a kind of a grail, I guess, if you want to use that word. This is the Notorious B.I.G., Life After Death, his last album. And this is an original pressing from 1997. There's 3 records in this. I got a really good deal. As you can see, cover has some bending and stuff, but the vinyl is mint. Obviously, this came from a DJ, and it was very well enjoyed. So let's move on to an album in shrink. This is one that I don't see very often. This is Jerry and the Pacemakers Today. I got this in Toronto somewhere. I can't remember where, but it was like 16 bucks. And I haven't spun that one either. I just got back on Saturday, so I have not really had the chance to spin all of these records. Next up, we've got an autographed record. This was really cool. This is Clarence Frogman Henry. He was kind of a 50s R&B. This album's from 61. This is like a little thing from a Toronto radio station with kind of the charts at the time. So this is on the Quality Blue label. Check Clarence Henry out if you haven't. Really nice R&B from the 50s. I'm just going to push these over here because I got a lot of records around me. I don't want them to fall down. Alright, moving along with the 50s stuff. I found this at an antique market called the 400 Antique Market. And this is an album that I have a copy of, which you probably remember when I found it at the record show, a promo copy. But this is a Canadian pressing of Buddy Holly and the Chirping Crickets from 1957 on the Brunswick label. The vinyl has some wear along with the cover, but I got this for a really good deal. This is an album that you just don't see in any condition. So to add a different variation to the collection was really sweet. Moving along with another 50s record that I never thought I would own. I got this at 33 1/3, and sorry for the glare. Frankie Ford doing the Sea Cruise. This is on REO, Canadian pressing. If you've never heard the song Sea Cruise, you should really check it out. It's a great 50s classic, and I love that cover. And man, when I found that, I was pretty shocked. I paid a little bit of money for it, but not too much. Moving along here, an album from the 60s, so we're moving to another decade. This is a find from Montreal, the Nashville Teens with Tobacco Road. The vinyl is in pretty decent condition, so I'm sure everyone knows that album. Really fun, really good listen. Moving to a little bit of country music now. This was another Montreal find. This one was really cool. This is kind of like a Korean Asian pressing, I think, of Jim Reeves. The cover is kind of papery with this kind of bag on it. So I haven't spun that yet. I'm not sure what the audio quality will be like, but we will check that out. Not too many more here for the regular finds, and then I'll get on to the Elvis stuff. This is a Johnny Burnett album. Got this at that same store in Montreal. This is on London Liberty, in really nice condition. I'm sure you all know the Rock and Roll Trio, which is an impossible album to find, worth $3 grand. But this is Johnny Burnett's first solo debut. From 61, I think. And moving along, a group that I never find. This is Judas Priest. This was only $15 at Sunrise Records, a Canadian chain in Montreal. When I went there, always got to check out their little bit of used selection to see what you can find. Have not spun that yet, but sampled it online, and of course everyone knows Judas Priest, so I don't have to say much more about them. A blues artist that you probably won't find any originals of or his singles, so this is a 1980s pressing on Ace Records of Elmore James. Dust My Broom, that's the one you'll know if you're a blues listener, and I really enjoyed that. Moving right along, this was cool. This was from the same 33 1/3 where I got the Notorious B.I.G. and the Frankie Ford. Never thought I would find this. This was the last Depeche Mode album I needed, basically. And this is a UK original pressing of Music for the Masses. I'll pull out the inner sleeve. Just a basic. And then there's the label in just mint condition. I was super stoked to get that. It was a really nice price, actually. I'm sure in the UK you could find these things for the same prices as we find their regular releases. But in Canada, finding those in decent condition, with the covers being from the UK, is like nearly impossible. Just making sure this isn't going to fall over. Now, moving on. Got a couple newer albums. This is a great group, Coldplay. This one has The Scientist on it and Clocks. I got this at the flea market yesterday. You know, day after I get back, I'm right at the flea market. That's what you do when you're a record collector. An album that I've wanted for a while. This is from 2011. This is Adele 21. I remember when this came out, and very popular, very talented artist. And I don't usually buy new artists, but when you've got a talented voice like she does, you definitely should check it out. Rolling in the Deep, all those fantastic songs. Turning Tables is a great song on that one too. This is from that Au Tantois tour in Montreal. This is a Jackie Wilson original on Brunswick. This is Jackie Wilson Sings the Blues. You can see the price that I paid, but I don't care. Yeah, I paid $50 for this, but really hard album to find. It's also a gatefold from the late 50s, which is odd, but it's in fantastic condition for what I paid. Few more, and then we're going to move on to Elvis. I met up with my good friend, the Elvis Presley collector. He doesn't really make videos anymore. Jordan, if you're watching this, thanks so much. He also gave me an Elvis record that I'll be showing. But this is a Japanese pressing of The Graduate with Simon and Garfunkel, the amazing movie and soundtrack. This is really sweet. This is from 1978. So no obi, but that's fine. I don't mind. I'm going to spin that later and see what Sounds of Silence sounds like on a Japanese pressing. And yeah, and he also gave me this amazing Conway Twitty compilation from 1990, sealed. So thank you so much, Jordan. It was awesome hanging out with you, and always a ball. That's the third time I've met Jordan out in Ontario. And this was a flea market find for $5 yesterday. The Birds, the Bees, and the Monkeys, a mono pressing. Canadian, still in the shrink, kind of. That was really cool. So those were the regular finds. I'm just going to push those over. And if you want to stick around for these cool Elvis finds, I would definitely recommend it. We're going to start off with a bonus photo. I'm going to be Frankensteining this into my nice copy, but this is the bonus photo for Elvis in the movie Speedway. There's the back, and that's in good condition. I paid $20 for that, but it's a very rare one. And let's get started with the Elvis stuff. So this came out last month. I just got it, and I just opened it. This is unreleased stuff from 1969 from Elvis at the International Hotel. I'm sure you've seen this a few times around if you're an Elvis fan, and I haven't spun that yet, and I haven't even re-sleeved it or anything, and I did pretty good for finding Elvis Presley bonus photos this trip. As you can see, this cover has a lot of wear, Frankie and Johnny. I've got a lot of good copies of this, so I'll be making a nice copy, but what I did not have was this beautiful Elvis bonus photo. I never thought I was going to find that one. I really enjoyed that one. It's on this kind of textured kind of paper. So I'm going to I'm just going to put that in the back of the sleeve right now so it doesn't get damaged. I've never seen a bonus photo that mint. It's crazy. So we're going to tuck that in there. We're going to tuck that to the side over here. Thanks for sticking along with me, guys. Moving on, I've got this in BC. A very good friend of mine in British Columbia, Powell River. I had a friend who wanted to give away some records. I got a huge pile of it here of what he gave me, about 50 or 60. A lot of it is country or local stuff to that area, so I'm not going to show that stuff, but this was probably a highlight out of that for me. I keep hitting myself in the face. Highlight for me out of that, this is a shrink copy of Paradise Hawaiian Style by the man Elvis. Moving along, this is a bootleg. Not too much to say about that. I got that in Montreal. Kind of some 50s stuff on there. Moving along, Elvis Speedway. So I'll see if this copy's nice or whatnot. But I actually found another bonus photo in this one that I did not have. And this is the bonus photo to Double Trouble from Elvis. There's the back. So that one's really nice too. Sharp corners. And that's going to go into my copy of Double Trouble. So always check, if you're an Elvis fan, I recommend you check every single Elvis record you see because you don't know what you're going to find in them. And sometimes it's hard to know which one it came from, but I've got a lot of friends who I just message right away and they tell me which one it is. Moving on, these next three from my Elvis collection are pretty sweet. This is an original Japanese pressing of Elvis Raised on Rock. As you can see, that's what I paid for it. And I got that at the French store in Montreal. Raised on Rock, original Japanese pressing from '74. I have one other Elvis Japanese pressing, but now I have 4. So, and to find the studio albums is pretty crazy. Obviously, these are 70s pressings because the one from '57 on this one is like a $1,000 one. So, this is Loving You. Beautiful shape. Cannot wait to spin those. And then one of my favorite Elvis Presley albums on a Japanese pressing is his second album from 1956, but this is a '77 Japanese pressing. Okay, a couple more Elvis finds here. Yeah, 2 more, and then I'll be done the video. This is a Memphis recording. What is it called? Yeah, Memphis recording of a great record label who put out Elvis's stuff. This is a double LP, huge booklet inside of all the great movie songs from the 50s that appeared on the EPs. So you got stuff from Love Me Tender, Loving You, King Creole, all the first 3 or 4. So that was really sweet. It was a good price. It was sealed. Of course, I opened it. And we're going to end off with a Friday music release. This one comes from my good friend again, Jordan. And this is King Creole. This is the original release from that. So that's it, VC. Thanks so much for watching. Once again, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me. I'm going to try to make more videos, but it's been really busy. I might make a few more in the coming weeks, but we'll see what happens. I'm just going to be going through these finds, cleaning them, sleeving them, all that good stuff. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.